Hello, you are listening to the Blue Monday podcast. This is a 3 times weekly audio show looking into the exciting happenings of Ipswich Town Football Club. My name is Benjamin Bloom, and I'll be here each and every Monday for this, the flagship show, with ITFC aficionado David Diamond for a sometimes irreverent but always informative hour of football conversation. So make your Monday a Blue Monday. Dave, how's things in Amsterdam in that brothel that you're in?
Yeah, really good considering I'm in my, I don't know, other room in the house. Yeah,
You got
it's
you
all
got
right,
red
mate. Yeah.
curtains.
We look like we could be play. You could be pilot, and I could be co-pilot. Landing.
Thanks for doing it that way around. So
Yeah,
this
well,
is the
obviously,
second
obviously.
week of the YouTube podcast. So obviously you can now get the podcast earlier on YouTube. Probably, I don't know, a few hours early. We normally record on Sunday afternoon. So if you are on Acast or iTunes, you may be missing out on some wonderful visual treats. And we're going to start a crowdfund to buy Dave a lamp, though.
Yeah, no. There is a reason. There is a reason for that. Christmas tree in the lounge. Obviously, 12th night gone. Christmas tree dumped. Tiffany lamp back in there.
So we'll have the
Yeah.
lamp next week.
Oh, no. Tiffany lamp back in there. No, you're not
Oh,
gonna
it
have a
was
Christmas
never in
tree
there
in
in the
here, mate.
first place.
Never in
Oh,
the first
okay.
place. It was just temporary.
Temporary. Dave,
Temporary.
so we need to deal with Fulham, but then yesterday felt slightly symbolic, didn't it?
I think it
So
did, Ben.
we'll try and get through Fulham nice and quickly, and then get on to yesterday. He says, reaching for the pad. That's never where we want to be. So we
Never
go
where
to
it needs.
Fulham, Dave, on Tuesday in the midst of this kind of injury crisis with this terrible, terrible record against
Yeah,
Fulham. Expectations before the game?
low.
Low. Let me go through the teams. So Fulham, we're getting quite familiar with these faces for Fulham as well, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, we
We've
played them when we played them. We played them in April, didn't we? Quite late last season. Obviously, the home game in September. So yeah, 3 times in virtually 8 months now. So yeah,
uh, yeah, three
three
spankings.
defeats.
So
Losses.
Bettinelli in goal, Fredericks right back, Adoy and Ream centre backs, Sessegnon left back, Norwood, Johansson and Kearney. So your favourite McDonald not there, but Norwood's still a pretty decent player. Up front, Ojo, my new least favourite player ever, Abubakar Kamara, and
AK-47.
oh god, he is, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Branding.
Yeah,
Um,
Brandon.
Floyd Aite, left back. So for Ipswich, we were very pleased to hear that Cole Skews came back. So quite a strong team actually, Dave. Uh,
Uh,
so Bart
yeah.
in goal, Knudsen left back, Dave at right back.
Spence.
Do it properly.
Spence. I
What's
can't.
what's what's the
Spence. Spence.
what's the middle syllable of suspension?
Pants. Go on.
Okay.
Move on.
You don't attach the S to it. No, you want me to move on, don't you?
Yeah.
Centre backs, Chambers and Tommy Smith, Dave, his first start in forever. It's great to see him getting back into the team for a now regular run of appearances
Yeah,
right
come
until
on,
the end of
Tom.
the
He's going to be a
season.
stalwart between now and the end of the season. Was it? I think it was his first start since. Was it Leeds away?
Uh, no, he didn't start at Leeds away. It was
Oh, he
Birmingham at
didn't.
home. First day of the season, wasn't it?
Oh, blimey,
Yeah,
crikey. Okay.
I'm pretty sure about that.
Yeah, you probably are right. Usually are.
Um, could be wrong. Connolly and Skews holding midfielders, so good to have Skews back. A lot of Skews love when he was missing. Selena left of the three, Waghorn in the middle. Ward keeps his place as we suspected to the right. Garner, the one up front, the battering ram. Dave, let's not go through forensically because we do want to get onto FA Cup stuff and
Yeah, just
yesterday's
about the starting
happenings.
lineup quickly. Did we not? Did we not start 4-4-2? Really?
No,
No. No,
no.
same usual. Sorry, I made a note here. It was. I take it all back. Yeah, of course you're right. It was his first appearance since Cardiff away. I should remember that, shouldn't we?
Oh, he started, didn't he? Yeah. I was
Yeah.
at that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bouncy one. Oh. Oh. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Look, Dave, I can sum up the first 43 minutes, and I'm going to
Yep.
hand over to you for the goal. So
Yeah.
Fulham were on top for most of this, but this was typical Ipswich this season under McCarthy, where they gave away possession, they gave away territory, they gave
Yep.
away chances, but Bart only made one he made a real good save with his feet from oh god, one of any of their five amazing forwards. And there was one instance, Dave, where I think it was Kamara smashed across in, Spence cleared, and it just went over the bar. So my read on the first 43 minutes was that yes, it was in the main Fulham attacking and having the ball, but
Yeah.
typically they didn't create major chances going
Ben,
into the half
just
time and the
quickly
goal.
compare it to, because you were there, compare it to Derby away. Admittedly, Derby away slightly different. We scored in about 5 minutes. Connolly scored, but similar sort of possession and attack and chances, or
No, because of the different ways that Fulham and Derby play. No, I totally take it's a really good question, but
yeah,
Fulham when we were against Derby, we looked comfortable because Derby
because
don't
Derby are more
they
direct, yeah.
yeah, they don't move the ball around like
No.
Fulham do. And of course, the thing with Fulham is I don't know, if you mark Aite, Sessegnon comes shooting outside him. If you mark Kearney,
Yeah,
Johansson goes past him. If you mark Ojo, Fredericks comes past. They're all so
got an option.
comfortable on the ball. And
Yeah,
I heard a really good comment about that. Literally every one of them can dribble as well.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we looked a lot more at risk purely because of the way they play. But yeah, it's a fair point. But the pattern really for the first half, you can compare to Derby. You just swap the goal at the start. So having been under the cosh and pouring down with rain, we do get to the goal. Do you want to take the goal on
Yeah, I
44,
will.
Dave?
Just quickly, I mean, before that, were there signs though? I mean, was that, for instance, our very first attempt as such, or
So Fulham had a little faff about at the back trying to split the centre halves, and Selena nearly stole through.
did they?
Waghorn chased onto a couple of things, and it was
Okay.
similar to I can't think another one of the games Waghorn set up the goals where I was like, oh come on Waghorn, sort your set plays out where we wasted a couple of chances, but
Yeah,
we
yeah.
didn't we
Oh,
didn't play through them at all.
possibly
But
Derby actually. Derby at home, they weren't great for the first two or three, and then he
yeah,
got it right, didn't he? I mean, the goal. I mean, I don't know. It was a free kick. It was a foul actually on Ward, which ultimately meant he went off and Sears came on just before half time, for which we now understand there's a slight tear in the groin, which that could be anything. Usually with our injuries, a slight tear in the groin means a complete bloody rupture and needs an operation or something. You know what I mean, though, some of the luck we've had. So he was off, Sears was on, so that was obviously a couple of minutes delay. And yeah, 45, it's the delivery again, Ben, isn't it? From wide right, in swinger, left foot, into that, I know I always say that, corridor of uncertainty. And brave from Waghorn, isn't it? It's just brave from Waghorn. I'm sorry, Waghorn. He has a brave free kick. Brave from Garner just gets in where the boots are flying, and just gets in there. Looks like he's going to get cleared out by Carson, but beat Carson. Not great goalkeeping, I suppose. Beats Carson to it and nods it in from 6 yards. Great delivery, great header.
Bettinelli, we're now playing Fulham
Did I say Carson?
twice.
Did I say Carson twice? Did I?
Yeah.
Bettinelli then. Carson was obviously in goal for the other one. Garner scored for the combo against Derby, of course. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, there's not much more to add to that other than I looked through literally from Dave, the second goal against Sheffield Wednesday, Waghorn has either scored, assisted, then two of the other three were his free kick being parried for Connolly against Forest
Oh
and
yeah.
his corner being flicked on against Reading. Literally 10 out of, I
Yeah.
think, 10 out of 11 goals, he either scored, assisted, or kind of indirectly assisted. So he's
Yeah,
become very important.
he has become an important player. So there was a bit of a reshuffle, I guess. Ward off, Sears on. I mean, from that point of view, okay. So we get to half time, 1-0 up. I mean, from that point of view, did it mean a reshuffle, or was it like for like, really?
No, it was like for like. So,
Yeah,
and to be honest, I thought Mick might, he was definitely going to start one of Ward and Sears, and I
yeah,
mean, just for the
yeah.
just for the running power and defensive stuff. But I mean, I got some stick on YouTube, but I thought it was a decent away performance. I mean, a lot of people come back and say, look, how is this fun just setting up to stop Fulham for 45 minutes and
Ben,
nicking a goal? But
we're not never going to go toe to toe with Fulham, because they're just going to play through us, and Christ, it could end up 4 or 5-1. Uh, but but yeah, you're just not going to. A team like us just can't go toe to toe with Fulham. I don't think there's many teams that can. Can you? Wolves aside, perhaps in that division.
Wolves, Brentford,
Oh yeah, Brentford good. Yeah, good
yeah.
shout perhaps. But very few can. Like I don't think Derby away we wouldn't have gone toe to toe with Derby. Didn't got the result. So anyway, so Ward off, Sears on 1-0 up at half time, and I texted you and said, Ben, Derby away, and you said, oh yeah, let's hope so. Could well be. And then So from you, first 10 minutes, second half,
Comfortable.
hold their own.
Fulham starting to get frustrated. There was some boos in
Perfect.
the away end at half time, and slightly different pattern. We were less being pegged back in that first 10 minutes of the second half than we were in the whole of the first half.
Well, and then we have the incident, and again that looks like a really good break for us. Sears running down the right, looks like we're getting players forward. Well, certainly our right back was getting forward, and and he just gets taken out by Cameron. He's okay. It's a shoulder barge, but he just gets taken out, and that is a foul. And here and now, can I have my little rant?
Mm.
This is so he was taken out probably just about an area where I sit every other week at Portman Road, and linesmen, old-fashioned. I can't call them. They're not fit to be called assistant refs, in my opinion. Linesmen, they don't make a decision. They just will not make a decision. They react. They react to decision unless it's a throw-in or maybe they're given a corner. 99.9% of the time, linesmen, any slightly contentious decision other than a throw-in corner, they just won't flag. They'll react to the ref. Every single time.
Is it to do with their headsets and stuff? Is it a different job than you or I are used to now? Are they talking through what they're thinking? And if
maybe so, but come on, it's obvious, and it's obvious, and you nailed it, I think, in your vid afterwards when you said, this doesn't happen. So if we get what is correctly a free kick, ball's put down, everybody moves up the pitch. What happens next in the next 5 seconds doesn't happen. We're still 1-0 up. It's very frustrating. I mean, I never really heard you be so animated about anything other than that was in your vid afterwards. You were proper.
Well, Dave, I don't just want to when we're doing the YouTube stuff, and check out the video for the Fulham Benjamin Bloom on YouTube. You don't want to come over all Arsenal fan TV. Robbie, I'm fed up, Robbie. Do you know what I mean? You want to try and be a little bit reasoned. But I was just so infuriated. And what I would advise anyone to do is read the comments and to see, because a lot of Fulham fans agreed with me.
Agreed, yeah, they did.
A lot disagreed as well, and said that Camara, it was a fair shoulder challenge.
It was a hard. I can sort of, to my mind, it was a foul. I mean, the thing is, Sears was running at full pelt, and he just caught him shoulder, and he's going to go. So maybe it looked worse than it was. In my mind, it's a foul, and 99% of the time, that would be given as a foul. But then what happened next? There's just no excuse, and it cost us the game. I mean, again, had it been called a foul, we moved up the pitch, 11 against 11. They may well have played through us eventually and scored a couple. But what happened next is just well,
that was my contention.
So out of character.
That was my contention too. And on the Cottage Talk podcast, I mean, they disagreed. They said no, it looked like Spence had already lost his head. I disagree with that, but we believe in free speech. But Dave, I looked at the laws, and for a shoulder charge, I think there's 2 or 3 factors. It has to be shoulder to shoulder. It can't be with excessive force, obviously, because any excessive force in any challenge is a foul. And you have to be in a position to play the ball. So I can leave you off the ball, and I just can't see how that's not a foul.
No way was he in a position to play the ball then. No chance. No way. But anyway, look.
And what we agree on is it's a definite red card after that.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. And it's our mate Spence who
we love.
And it's completely out of character. We've spoken about him on. We've spoken about it before when he's been interviewed and stuff. And he's quite, comes across really quite a bright guy, quite eloquent. Speaks well, but it was just bizarre, wasn't it?
Dave, I was sat in the Riverside. I think in the Riverside stand along, right behind the linesman, similar to where you would sit at Ipswich.
Yeah.
I could see his face when he made it.
Was it one of them?
Oh, he lost it. He totally just lost the plot for 2 seconds or whatever.
Even then, I didn't sort of fully appreciate it. So this was
54.
I mean, I think that makes it perhaps more galling for me. And again, you can't, one right doesn't make a wrong, and vice versa. It was the same ref, that Keith Stroud, that missed and again, with me and you had a little bit of contention over this one. It was the same ref, Keith Stroud, that missed the Leuven's McGoldrick Sheffield Wednesday home game, which again, okay, we thought at the time, perhaps you thought at the time he was unsighted, but perhaps if there was a need for that, was tomorrow night, isn't that VAR? That would be interesting. The Brighton Palace thing tomorrow night.
I think can I give Stroud a pass and say the linesman has got to furiously wave his
He's
flag
got to
for the first
absolutely,
title. Yeah.
absolutely. No, I agree. But then they don't score. Okay, then Selena. So he makes a technical. Selena off Royal for it right back. Waghorn drops back, which is would certainly seem fair enough. Fair enough to me. And then we hold on for another 10 minutes. I mean, again, is it backs to the wall for those
Well,
10 minutes or not
what
really?
what happened is the ref and the linesman, you watch your US sport, don't you? Made a
Yeah,
series of makeup calls. So
yeah.
Piarzon falls down in the area, gets booked for diving. The next time Ream and Garner go up for the ball, Ream gets a yellow card. So the officials lost it then for the next 10 or 15 minutes. And I always say, he doth protest too much. Why are you doing that? If you know that, if you're happy with the decision you made and
Get
that,
on with it. Yeah,
yeah,
referee the game.
get
Yeah.
on with it. And again, we need to preface all these comments by saying yes, Ipswich are capable of stuffing it up themselves. I just don't like when they're not helped by mismanagement of a situation
Oh,
by the
Ipswich
officials.
are more than capable of doing that themselves, but I think there was some perhaps slight outside influences on Tuesday evening. But there you
Well,
go.
let's go to the Fulham equaliser. So you're right, Dave. They hold on for about 15 minutes,
Yeah,
and then it's the a bit of a fortuitous way the
that
ball
was a
ends up at.
horrible goal, wasn't it? Yeah, Sessegnon starts the move. I mean, how did he look? I mean, did he look?
He
I
was
mean, obviously,
he was
when it going down to 10, a bit more freedom probably.
Yeah, well, what happened was he was quieter than at Portman Road, where him and Cabano were having a lovely old time, weren't
Lovely
they?
time.
But you're totally right. What happened when the red card went in? We went 9 behind the ball, and him and Fredericks were obviously told by Jokanovic, right,
Bomb, bomb,
don't defend anymore.
bomb.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
bomb on.
they basically had
Yeah.
2 extra men.
And they're good enough to move the ball and get them in, aren't they? Yeah, Sessegnon starts the move, moves it left to our friend Camera, continues his run in the box. Camera crosses. It's a weird one. He sort of crosses it to the far post. I'm not sure if Cabano's going for goal there, but he sort of keeps the
He's
ball
going for
alive.
goal, Dave.
It's an
Yeah,
odd one, isn't it? And that was
mispicked
a
it.
bit
Yeah.
lucky, wasn't it? It just spins up. And to be fair, okay, Sessegnon has followed his original ball in the box, and he sort of heads it in from 6 yards, and that's a soft one. It sort of bounces between, I think, Knudsen and Bart, doesn't it? It's a horrible goal, really. Just a horror, isn't it, that one? But yeah, that
Yeah,
sort
you,
of thing.
you you nailed it, Dave. And at
And
that point, they've been playing up against it in the pouring down rain,
it's
and
just going to get worse, isn't it? It's
yeah,
going to get
well,
worse.
you can go again because all the
Yeah, Norwood again.
this is
I
my
like that.
pad, Dave. The next 4 items are all goals. So
Yeah, I mean Norwood again. I mean that's not a bad replacement for McDonald, is it? He's a good player. He can move the ball and stuff. Good passer. Gets his head up wide to Kenny. Slips in Cabano, right side of box. Turns it back across to Norwood. And this again is unlucky. Norwood has a shot blocked from about 8 yards, and it hits Kamara, who the ball just turns round and is in front of him. Left foot finish from about 6 yards. No chance anyone there.
can I have a rant,
Oh,
Dave? Can I have a rant?
and yeah.
So this guy, who's the pantomime villain, just got involved getting Spence sent off. Scores a rebound from 6 yards. He runs off with more arrogance than Maradona did after he
Oh,
scored
I
that
saw
second
that.
goal.
Yeah.
Backflip and
She's
everything. Wind
horrible.
your neck in, sunshine.
Yeah. And then the next goal's the best one. It's
Yeah, you can
ridiculous.
appreciate the third one.
Ah,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous from Kenny. In the air, he does it. He's played in. He drops his shoulder initially past Smith, I think, but then the next bit of skill's just crazy. Sort of sort of left foot on top of the ball and drags it to the byline, and then with his right foot, I think it is, sort of puts it across the goal line. It looks like inside bar. It's an odd one. So inside bar, and again, Sessegnon's right on the far post and taps it in from about 6 inches. It's ridiculous skill, and you
It is,
can't touch
Dave.
him.
It is a shot. The dink is clearly a
Oh,
shot,
no.
and it
I think
goes
it is.
across the
Yeah,
goal, doesn't it?
yeah. But what initially you can't touch him when he does that in the box. It's a pen. So, and then hang on, what's this? Oh, 4 minutes later, 4-1.
Carry on.
Oh, it's horrid, isn't it? And who else but Kamara again? Wide right. I'm sorry, wide left. Cuts inside, across edge of box. I think it's a massive deflection off Smith. I think
Off
He
his
just
back, I think, Dave. Yeah.
flexing past Bart. No chance. So 4-1 is just ridiculous at that stage. I suppose the one noteworthy spot of the night is shock horror without any reserve football, but again, a pros manager's hands are tied. Luke Hyam on for Connolly on 82nd minute, who'd I think been down for his second lot of treatment, I think. So I think
Yeah.
wisely Mick gave him the hook at that point.
It's just some
Yeah.
refereeing stuff left over. So Garner takes a yellow right at the end. He'd been, bless him, he has such a hard job sometimes, that bloke.
Yeah.
As the ball booted up to him in the pouring rain with
It's,
the
you know
officials
what?
seemingly against him.
When I heard sort of sending off that went to that, sending off at Craven Cottage, I thought it could be could be a game changer. This is how Sky said it. Could be a game changer. Sending off at Craven Cottage. I looked at Kieran, my lad, and said, Garner.
But again, I draw you
I
back.
know.
I draw you back to the Robbie Savage comparison. If you hear Robbie
Yeah, yeah.
Savage on 606, he always says,
Knew when,
"I got booked 102 times and never got sent off because I was
he knew
used to
when
playing that way."
not to
And
cross that line.
Garner's the same. He knows what he's doing. He knows when he's being
Yeah.
overly physical, and he knows when he's getting away with a ref. The other thing though,
And then
Waghorn has a really naughty one on Cabano where it's a fair tackle because he knows he's getting the ball, but he just really cleans him out. And then Cabano really, like, two hands, jumps into him and shoves him, and you're thinking, if that had
come
been
on,
in the 55th minute,
even it up.
yeah, that would have been the make-up call, wouldn't it?
Doesn't Chambers pick one up for a bit of a childish, throws the ball down in disgust type one?
After we'd run a free kick. Yeah. So yeah, 2 bookings in 25 minutes. So Dave, right, talk to me about, because I actually and I'm always getting stick on YouTube. I got a bit of stick for standing up for the team because I actually thought, look, 1-0 at half time, great. They got let down by Spence with some mitigating circumstances. A lot of people were unhappy with the collapse, but I maintain if you're at that game, that it's a kind of like punch drunk.
I know. He's
punch drunk
down,
boxer.
heads down. It's pouring with rain. It's a miserable evening. I mean, you can just sit there. Ben, they shouldn't concede 4 in 7 minutes though. Sorry, 4 in 7. All right. Say we lose 4-1, that happens in the 54th minute, and we lose 4-1 over 90 plus 4 or whatever it is. But sorry, 4 in 7 minutes ain't great though, Ben. I think that's perhaps what people were more getting upset about. Not that we know what Fulham can do, and as I said before, even without the sending off, perhaps Fulham different to Derby, who Derby perhaps on the night I think you said just didn't have a plan B and played into our hands.
Yeah, agreed.
Fulham wouldn't change their style. Fulham would play. So that's what I think perhaps got people's goats more than anything. Just conceding 4 in 7 minutes. That shouldn't happen. But
I just think, Dave, there was a lot of players on there that did their job well in that game that can come off the pitch and go, well, okay.
Who would you? I mean, we always give a town. Who would you give our best player to?
Well, on the video, I gave it to Smith just on the basis it was nice to see him back, and he got through the game without any. The problem is that we were defending for the whole game, so you have to kind of give it to a defender. And Connolly and Skews, as often happens, got back onto the top of the centre back, so it was a lot of last ditch stuff. But like you said, other than that, calamitous period where they're piling on 3 midfielders, 3 forwards, and 2 fullbacks. It's like Man United under Ferguson, just like.
And their best player.
Well, I mean, Kearney did the brilliant bit of skill. I always like Fredericks, the right back. Johansson was really good, and Johansson was the one who played the most consistently across the whole game. But Kearney did the damage when it went to 10 men.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't. I didn't expect anything there, but it's just a shame. It's just the manner of the overall manner of defeat and how the match sort of contrived to turn out. It's just a horrible night, really, isn't it?
Okay, Dave, I think we've done it. It says 23 minutes up here. So, have you got me a bit of a championship roundup before we get
just for the main
get on to
I mean, Wolves roll on 3-0 over Brentford, 3 second half goals. So they're now 12 points clear at the top, 14 points clear of third. And I did a Benjamin Bloom bit of extrapolation. 26 games, 61 points. A nice round 108, Ben.
Ooh. You think they get 100?
Sorry?
Do you think they'll get 100?
I think they probably will. Is there any sign of them? They've just signed this guy. Apparently, they've just signed this guy, Mir, this forward, who apparently Real Madrid were after.
Yeah, at like 1 minute past. When we talk about transfer strategies, this happens at 1 minute past midnight on January the 1st. But
I think they mean business, mate. They mean business. I was hoping they'd get a victory yesterday to postpone the game in 2 or 3 weeks' time, but they've gone to a replay, so that's, I suppose, reasonable news anyway. Derby won, Sheffield United won, Leon Clark's 15th. Cardiff, fourth defeat on the spin, lost 2-1 at QPR. Warnock's worst run as a manager in 9 seasons, mate.
Wow.
And what about this one? You like this? Villa 5, Bristol City 0. Where did that come from?
The recesses of Lee John. He's capable of it, Dave.
There's second defeat. Our opponents next week, who were covering a little while, remaining 6th, 0-0. So that was their second. They lost 1-0 to Birmingham over the weekend, over the New Year weekend, but drew 0-0 with Forest. So, and disappointingly, bloody little
plaster on the parachute.
Yeah. Millwall 2-1. Millwall won up at half time. They're taking 7 points from 9 over Christmas, just 2 points behind us, being down at half time. Although the games, I did a little bit on the games they've got leading up to us. I thought, what have they got coming up? So
Dave, they'll call you obsessed. They'll call you obsessed.
Well, I know. I just like the, they got some iffy ones. They've got Bristol City away next week, followed by Sheffield United at home, Brentford away, Borough at home, Derby away, all before they play us.
Nasty.
So, no guarantee they'll be above us, but anyway.
And if anyone can tweet us with the reference I just did with that "ooh nasty" from a 80s kids TV show, tweet us in and win yourself a prize.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
ooh nasty.
Okay. Right, Dave, we've got to get onto this kind of seismic, symbolic few days. Right, but first of all, before we get to this press conference, I've spoken to my lawyers and they've suggested that you need to issue a public apology to me on this forum for your comments, re Kiefer Moore. So when I met Kiefer Moore, you said that he walked away sheepishly because I was, quote, a weirdo and a stalker, okay? And it's since transpired that he might have been sheepish for different reasons. So first of all, would you like to make the apology on air?
No, can I just make a point? I think up to that point, right? Up to that point, I think he had every intention of staying, but you just clearly frightened him off.
So we now know why Kiefer was sheepish, yeah?
Yeah, we do know that. Yeah, you were saying, Kiefer, really looking forward to seeing you back up front with Garner, mate. Yeah, there was more to that than meets the eye, wasn't it? So
right. I've got the timeline for you, Dave. So Rotherham say they're going to bid. Bradford then get linked. In comes Big Balls Peterborough chairman Darren McAntony, who says that they had their bid accepted, but they couldn't, because of FFP, pay the wages offered by somebody else, which is apparently close to £10,000 per week, and that person was Moneyball Barnsley, who have offered 750,000. Is Moore a Moneyball type player, Dave?
Well, I suppose 13 goals in however many appearances would say he is,
and underappreciated to the age of 25 as well.
Yeah,
that's Moneyball, isn't it?
Yeah, and they're gonna start. You're gonna think they're gonna start throwing some money about. I mean, hopefully it's $750,000 if that is right. With suitable add-ons if he does the business with Barnsley.
But Dave, what I want to know from you is, what do you think about the whole thing? How the whole thing's been handled, given that a potential asset, possibly, we don't know, and there's been lots of we had some excellent debate with Richard and Noel on Twitter, as you know, you don't really know whether he's going to do it at championship level. There's a lot of evidence to say that he's a good player. How do you think whole thing's been handled in respect of a potential asset just being discarded for
I think
cash?
We've handled it quite well. I mean, the thing is, it's an odd one, isn't it? Because if he came back, I mean, clearly we've taken the decision to sell, so he's got him back. Clearly, so we've taken that decision. So got him back. I don't risk an injury. He can't play. If we're going to sell him, he can't play for us. We can't. Unless I guess we sell him to Rotherham. We couldn't sell him to anybody else under that two-club rule for this season anyway. For the rest of the season. So I guess from that point of view, it sort of makes sense. And and for once, why shouldn't we? If we intend to sell him, why shouldn't we enter into get set up an auction for him?
And what do you think to the argument that a lot of people were making, if we were bidding for the second top scorer in League One, that this would be a good thing?
I mean, hindsight's a wonderful thing. We saw him at the end of last season, and he wasn't. He was
awful. He's obviously improved. Though.
So but he's gone to League One. He scored goals. Is he now coming back full of confidence? Think, I can do it as a league. All right, he did a bit of Yeovil,
and
I suppose.
Dave,
yes, I can do it in a league.
Noel's argument on Twitter was, well, we only saw him for 148 minutes in a
Good
rubbish
point.
team,
Yeah.
playing badly. So maybe
But
we don't yet have a big enough sample size to
but
say that he's
then
not going to
again,
make it at championship level.
the manager said he's not going to play in front of Ghana. He's not going to play in front of Waghorn. What's the point?
There you go. Okay, speaking of the manager, this was my favourite press conference of the season. That was the nerdiest thing I've ever said. But this press conference on Friday was there were just 3 times. I must admit, I watched it in the bath. I do tend to watch. I got the day off on Friday, so get in the
Cool.
bath, get the
Yeah.
hot water on early and
Yeah.
watch that. There are a few times, Dave, where like I don't know this face and
Oh,
my jaw kind of hitting the
that's
floor.
your surprise. That's your shock face.
So quickly, Dave, I think you've dealt with this, but mixed quote on Kiefer Moore. I could tell yesterday when he trained, there's a lot of interest in him, and I think his head is elsewhere, and I think he'll probably end up elsewhere. And then a little dig at the fans, saying, "Well, I remember him getting
Yeah.
jeered
Pelts.
and ironic cheer when he headed the ball." So your thoughts on those comments on Moore?
Yeah, that's pretty much what pretty much what I said. If it seems like he has come back, he's obviously seen him in training. And yeah, he's not saying he's not contributing in training, but he just seems disinterested and he doesn't really want to be here. So if a player, he's an asset. We bought him for 10 grand a year ago. Okay, reportedly going to sell him for 750,000. It's pretty good business, isn't it?
Yes, depends what you do with the money, but that's gonna
Well,
yeah,
okay.
that's gonna come later, isn't it? On the wonderful manly Bartosz Białkowski, Mick says he is on a list of 6 at Crystal Palace and completely throws Evans under the bus here. When asked about a figure, he said, "Wait a minute, I don't decide the figure. It's a figure that Marcus is happy with." What do you think about that comment?
Yeah, it's a bit of pitching him out there, isn't it? Apparently, they were linked with when I said Palace, he was on their list of 6. I thought, oh, like 6 transfer targets. But there's 6 goalkeepers.
Yeah, six goalkeepers, and I
Apparently,
think you're
that's
going to
moved on.
mention, yeah, the Hetafe goalkeeper. Is that who they're going for?
I didn't know who it was, but yeah, apparently they've been linked. They've been heavily linked, and apparently it's moved on a bit with it's Hetafe, is it, with the
I'm
Spanish
not
keeper?
sure. One of our Scandinavian correspondents
Okay.
tweeted us and said that. I mean, it's all a little bit of hearsay.
I mean, as far we did this a bit last week. As far as my point, and I'm sure you're the same on Bart. He's 30. He's been brilliant for us, Player of the Year, 2 seasons running. Deserves a shot at the Prem, doesn't he?
Yeah. Okay.
Can't argue with that. And we got it pretty. We said last week fee, and we said between 3 and 5 million. About right, isn't it?
Yeah. This one was very revealing, Dave. So, just in terms of the kind of transfer strategy. So, he was asked about players coming in.
Hmm.
Excuse me. And we've got the Connor Goldson link again, but exactly
Yeah.
the same answer he gave in summer of, "Oh, well, Brighton need him, and if they don't need him, we'll go for him." But then this
Well,
quote, Dave,
yeah.
if anybody leaves and we can get somebody else in to help in terms of loans, or it might be a Bosman, then we'll have to try and do that. So really revealing on the transfer strategy that
Clearly he's had that talk, hasn't he? And that's what he's got still. I mean, it's bad, isn't it? Yeah, again, Goldson, I think, is dependent, so we understand, as it was in the summer. I think he was here ready to sign by all accounts, but Brighton had a deal for a centre half that fell through, so he went back. I think he has played. He has played for Brighton this season.
played at
So
Watford the
again, I
other
think
day.
it's a
Yeah.
case of Brighton getting a centre back in, and then potentially, I mean, we're desperate. We're pretty desperate, I would say. Which I may see. I mean, other links I saw, we were linked to. Do you want to do this now, or
Let's wait
go on?
until, because these have all come since the game. There's just
Yeah,
a couple before we go to Tommy Smith.
yeah.
When asked about McGoldrick, he says the strangest things. He's an obvious target. None of us want to lose him, but we'll see what happens. Which is, and when he said that, I'm like, oh crap, he's off then.
Yeah. Again, seeing him yesterday, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, and this is an odd one with McGoldrick. He's the only player. We have a lot of players a good few first team players who are out of contract at the end of the season. But all these players, I think, a bit like Knudson's, just happen to have got this 1 year option, which we haven't with McGoldrick. So, you know, yeah, if he's going to go now, you may get a small fee for him, or we might as well. That's my take on it now. I'd hate to see him go because, again, you know how much I like him, and even amidst all the dross yesterday, a few times in the first half, he did stuff. Well, you think, oh, okay. But, you know, again, yesterday he didn't look, to be honest, second half. Well, not many did, but he didn't really appear to be that interested to me. Wouldn't be surprised to see him move on, and if it's for a fee that we can get now, then fair enough. But who do you replace him with?
So before the game yesterday,
Yeah,
now I've had
just.
a look at Tommy Smith's Twitter account, and it does smack a little bit of that he's not actually, that's not him sending the tweets. There's a few
Okay.
kind of corporate-y looking tweets. But before
Mm,
the game yesterday, Tommy Smith tweets, "We go again. Come on, hashtag come on you Blues.
yeah.
Hashtag FA Cup." So I will admit it doesn't look like he wrote that tweet, but then it breaks about lunchtime, and you should have seen Statman's face when I told him. He looked like he was going to cry, bless him. So TWTD, who pretty reliable on this stuff,
Yeah, they don't tend to put it out there, do they? Unless.
yeah, so they announced that Smith is in the far reaches of finalising a move with the Colorado Rapids and will not play today. Dave, we'll address mixed comments on this after the game, but just hypothetically, at this point before the game, I'm kind of like, what is going on now? Is this a
Yeah, but
complete
again,
clear
Ben,
out?
is this a bit? Is this someone putting two and two together, making five again? Do you see Colorado managed by the ex-New Zealand manager, who only was appointed by Colorado in November?
I wasn't aware of
Guy,
that.
yeah, a guy called Anthony Hudson. So he's been New Zealand manager, the national manager for I think a fair few seasons. I think. So he was appointed in November. So is this just people just? Yeah, okay. This looks quite a good fit. This looks quite a good story. I don't know. I mean, again, the manager comes out after the game yesterday and said he wasn't well. He was unwell. Well, was he unwell? Was his head not right because he's in the throes of this move? I don't know. Don't know.
Mm.
Tough one to call. I can see where stats coming from. I just looked at his stats. 251 games, 20 starts. 23 goals. Came through the academy. Again, I'd be sorry to see someone like that depart. However, when Chambers and Webster are fully fit, he ain't going to play, is he?
Very true. Very true. Right. So let's get down to Portman Road, us and 11,000 other Ipswich fans.
Unfortunate souls.
So normally, Dave, we'd expect a more reservy team than this, wouldn't we?
Oh, it's a strong team, Ben. I think it was, yeah, but one of the strongest he could put out, really, other than the two on the bench.
Okay, so Bart in goal, Iorfa right back, Kenlock left back. Now, Dave, you smartened me up on this. Chambers and Knudsen were centre backs. They seem to start the opposite way round, but switch
I, I,
switch
yeah,
over.
perhaps they forgot. I don't quite know what was happening, but after about 4 or 5 minutes, I was hang on, why is Knudsen playing on the right of Chambers? Bizarre.
So,
And then they sort of looked at each other. Oh, hang on, yeah, okay.
so this is more a 4-3-3 than a 4-2-3-1.
I
Just
think it was
purely
yesterday.
on the basis that Hyam doesn't quite get that far forward. So Connolly and Brew were holding. Hyam just in front of them pressing. Selina then to the left, Sears to the right, and McGoldrick up front. Chris Wilder makes 8 changes for the Blades. I like their 3-5-2 system. It's only really them and Wolves that do it. So Blackman's the first teamer. Stearman, we know. The other centre half's Carter Vickers, who's on loan from Spurs, I think.
Spurs. Yeah.
Wright was the other centre half. The wing backs were Baldock and God, I got trouble with Lafferty and Lavery. I couldn't do this.
Oh yeah,
So yeah,
Callan
so
Lavery.
Lafferty was the left wing back. Then in midfield there was kind of two sort of holding. It was Carruthers and Basham
Tom.
who can
Oh,
play centre
Basham, yeah.
back. Yeah, and then Thomas was a little bit in front of them with Sharp and
Lavery.
Lavery, not Lafferty, up
Lavery.
front. Yeah, do we want to do this forensically, Dave? So going up
Does
to
it
the
really take too much? Go on.
going up to the first goal. Did you get a look at that? You weren't in your normal seat, were you? Did you get a look at this handball
No, I
shout on
was.
5 minutes?
I was at the far end up North Stand then. No. But Chambers did his usual jump 10 feet in the air when the ref didn't give it. I mean, he was pretty adamant it was a handball. He was quite close.
What is this jumping thing? Why does
I
it
don't know.
looks very childish, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
So Chambers heads Selena's corner at goal, and big handball shout from him and some of the other players. I can't comment. I haven't seen a
Nope.
replay of it. Selena dribble and then a long range around the post, and then Chambers with another chance-ish. Couple of long range efforts, and then leading up to the goal. And if you're going to take one thing from yesterday, this was a brilliant goal, wasn't it, Dave?
It was sort of high ball. That was, I think it was the only thing he did all day. I guess he claimed an assist for that. That was touched to, initially touched to Lavery by Thomas, Nathan Thomas. Touched back by Lavery, which I guess he gets an assist for that, but he was terrible. I mean, you worry about when one of our former players comes up against you and you think, oh, here we go, but he wasn't very good at all. Took one touch, can't we say, rifled one in the top left corner. I mean, top right corner from 28 yards. What a hit. But may have got a very, very faint touch.
You ain't saving that, Dave. You ain't saving that one.
Strike. Yeah. Great hit. It's almost totally out of context. What? Where the hell did that come from?
Can I do an Andy Gray? Can I do an Andy Gray impression, Dave?
Not very good at Andy Gray. No. Oh, take a bow, son. Take a bow. How can you? Go on.
Yeah. You could have two goalkeepers in there, and that's not. I can't do it. No.
Take a bow.
Now, do you remember when Kevin Pressman scores the penalty for Sheffield Wednesday against Wolves, and he literally takes the goal out and puts it within a millimetre of the top corner? You could have two goals.
Who would hit a harder penalty, Kevin Pressman or David Unsworth used to hit a hard penalty, didn't he?
Unsworth would take a pen. I'm sure we're going to hear lots more about David Unsworth over the next few months. Anyway, so from this moment on, it had been, I'd say Ipswich was slightly on top up until the goal. And then...
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, started all right.
Regress into this horrible pattern. So I thought Sheffield United were pretty good. This system's great because when you chuck your wing backs back and your midfielders drop in, you've got 3, 2 and 3. It's hard to play through, and then they're quite brave in possession. The wing backs get forward, and the two centre backs. One centre back goes forward, and the other covers to make it a kind of back four type thing.
I thought Stearman was outstanding yesterday. Good player.
Yeah,
good player.
So was there actually a shot on target yesterday from Ipswich?
No.
Oh my God. So let's go straight to half time then. I've not really got much to say other than that. And then the second half becomes this kind of toxic, horrible, cold.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Dirge, punctuated by Bart and Chambers, the most reliable players we have. Yeah, and a lot of Sheffield United lining up in their defensive position, and Ipswich not having any quality to either thread the ball through, play a cross, take a long shot and follow it in. There
was one really good bit of play where Connolly wins the ball, who I thought, and I know you said yesterday, I thought he was probably marginally just about our best player yesterday. Connolly wins the ball and feeds it to sort of in the right side of the box to Selena, who sort of digs out a good cross, and Connolly follows his pass in, and he just sort of gets under it. That's the best bit of play all day, really.
Yeah, I agree. And for all of that, Sheffield United, I mean, we gave them a couple of the chances, but they did play through a couple of times. Basham at the end of the first half had a good chance, and then Lavery and Slater both had chances, and Baldock got in on the overlap and tried to do Bart on his near post. Yeah.
And then, my take, it got to the sort of like the gallows humour at about 80 minutes. I made a note where the Sir Bobby chanted, we want a shot, we want a shot.
Let's pretend we've had a shot.
Yeah, and then the usual 5 minutes later.
Remember, we're on YouTube now. So.
No, I know. Your Nick McCarthy, your football is not very good.
We're frog and soft. Lots of nasty chance. Dave, is there anything in the fact that when it gets to about 75, 80 minutes, Mick desperately doesn't want a replay? Is that why he doesn't make a substitution?
I think it must have been yesterday. I mean, I made a point of that. I sort of get not risking Garner. I mean, the way he plays, he's been in the wars. Apparently, according to Mick, he's been carrying some sort of knee injury since he's been here, I think. So, can get that. But he's been bigging up this kid from Ireland. Right, he's only 19, but what's not to lose? What's to lose? A cup match. 20 minutes to go. Throw him on.
He doesn't want a 1-1 draw, though, does he?
But okay. But even so, come on. At least that would give the crowd a lift. Do you know,
Yeah.
seeing a new boy, he's been bigging him up. Oh, here's our new signing. All right, 100 grand, whatever he's got. Let's see what he's got. Throw him on. Sears was, I'm sorry, we said you can't defend the defence. He was terrible yesterday. So, get him on, bring off Sears, give him a run. But no, and I think you probably hit the nail on the head there. Doesn't want a replay. Well, he achieved that quite well yesterday.
Okay, we got so much to disseminate. So it really did end up really awful in the ground. Yeah, do you want to give me a... So I agree with you. Can we go for Connolly for Ipswich star man?
Yeah, I thought he was good, and he got pretty nasty sort of bang in the face first half as well, didn't he? I guess it was like, no, you probably saw this better than me, nosebleed or whatever he had.
Yeah,
he was sort of off and back on, and then off again.
Towel on it most of the
time.
Yeah,
so he's just a good player, and he's never going to beat 2 or 3 people and score a wonderful goal, but he's quite effective. Very seldom gives the ball away. Sort of well organised. Well, he looks a sort of Premier Academy player. Looks a well organised player, doesn't he? He's been good for us, I think.
What do you think? Carruthers for Sheffield United? I had.
Stearman, I thought he was brilliant yesterday. I know we played into his hands a bit. I thought he was great yesterday.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Carruthers was good too. Yeah, you're right. Sammy Carruthers was good. Sharp. Yeah, didn't do much really. Yeah, but I thought Stearman. Yeah, very good.
Okay, so and the press who've been good this week, Brenner and Stuart Watson and Phil Ham, asking some pretty good, being respectful and polite, but still asking decent questions.
Direct,
so Brenner goes straight in and asks about the performance, and this just flabbergasted me how he didn't criticise them. I've just been asked if I was unhappy with the performance. No, I'm not unhappy with the performance. I'm unhappy with the result. A lot of people think I defend Mick, ridiculously, but even me as a pro Mick guy was going, "Oh, come on, Mick, you've got to give us some kind of
critique."
Yeah.
No, it was just horrible yesterday. And I just don't. And again, you can bang on as much as you like about, well, our midfield, it was a patch-up midfield, one thing and another. But I'm sorry, after they scored and, certainly the second half, there was just no passion there. Again, I've said it before, players don't go out to have a bad game or be late. Players are trying. Of course, people around us saying, "Oh, McGoldrick was perhaps not interested," but McGoldrick. Sometimes we've said this before about McGoldrick. That's just how he plays, isn't he? He has a shoulder, he shrugs his shoulder, and he doesn't appear to be. But of course, he's trying and stuff. But I don't know. It was a whole atmosphere yesterday. It was people, I know sat behind me. Yes, I sat in slightly different seats yesterday, and people sitting behind me who don't usually go. I think half time, 5 minutes before half time. So this is rubbish. Off to the bar. Literally 10 minutes to go. They're gone. That's had enough.
And I think one of the big telltale signs is Mick, for whatever you say, is one of the best in-game managers I've seen, and he was just stood still for the last 30 minutes, wasn't he?
Did you say he did that at Fulham as well? Was it Fulham you said that?
I wasn't aware of that at Fulham.
Okay, maybe someone else said it. Oh, well, clearly it was a cup match. He could see we weren't, we could have been there all evening and we weren't really going to go. But I mean, to be fair, he threw Waghorn on, and for a time, Waghorn put there was a little bit of urgency there when Waghorn came on for a bit, but even he got dragged down into it, really. Yeah, good to see. I mean, I know you've got an opinion on him, but I guess nice to see Hyam back for an hour again. He didn't contribute. He was very energetic. Yeah, again, 1 or 2 fairly, let's say, robust challenges. So from his point of view, yeah, as an Ipswich boy, good to see him back, I guess.
Dave, you just need bodies. I'll even take
another
Luke
body
Hyam at the moment. Yeah,
he's another body. Still, what gets me? What the hell is going on with Adeyemi? No one says anything. He's like disappeared off the face. He doesn't say anything impressive about him, does he? He never comes up. What's going on? It's almost. I won't go there, but do you remember when that first after his initial burst, Stuart just went missing for like 2 months?
We all know it went.
Well, I know. I'm not saying don't. And we know Adeyemi's injured, but there was a silence then. Okay, there was good reason for that. But it's ridiculous. What's going on with him? Got injured in a warm up, by all accounts. Odd. Yeah. And if he got subsequently injured in training or something like that, well, come out and say.
Okay, right. Before we get into Mick and Marcus, we're going to go to the tweets. I just got one more on the negative chance. McCarthy says, It's only been waiting. It's only been in the background and it's never gone away. I think they're a bit sick of the same old and they want a change, don't they?
It's,
I guess
but it's,
that's understandable, but for the moment, that's not happening. What?
I don't know, Ben. I don't know. Let's get to. Well, let's go through the tweets and get to
Yeah,
the
let's do
Leeds
the
game.
tweets.
There's a take on this, I think.
So, yeah, I tried to be specific with the question. So what the question I tweeted out was, after yesterday, how are you feeling about the rest of the season? And first of all, we'll say thank you for the absolute deluge of responses. But
Yeah, it's good.
secondly, sorry that we're not going to be able to read them all out. So Dave, do you want to respond at the end? And I'll just try and get through all of these. So Ipswich Steve, the more the mixed saga drags on, the worse the season is going to be now, in my opinion. Evans' biggest flaw is giving managers too long, and it just become painful for everyone involved now. Hopeful of news coming out of the club today that Mick has gone. Mullet, it's very clear he's cleaning house, and that's fine. If he's bringing in loans to coast through the season and give someone a clean slate, that's commendable. Given he's had the club up for sale before Mick got here, it's more likely the next guy has to succeed instantly. Noel, feel really sorry for McCarthy because of the midfield injury situation. After the Forest game, I thought we were just starting to make good progress, but these injuries have ruined the season. Not McCarthy's fault. Must replace Sears, Brew, and Ward. That's harsh, Noel. Replacing them with quality. Cobbold massive. Firstly, Mick can write off with his comments about the game yesterday. He can write off about telling Tommy Smith he needs to look for another club, and he can write off for playing the most boring football I've ever seen. Marcus Evans is a 2. Joe Fez, who was excellent on the Naked Football Show.
Yeah, he was brilliant, Joe.
Please download that if you haven't listened to it. Disillusioned, change is required, although it's quite likely that it doesn't halt downwards trajectory. What is Evans doing? No clear and decisive leadership being shown. Club is floundering. Blue Blood ITFC, it's all about the new man. In prep, I've sent this to Marcus Evans' group to help guide and inform the selection of the future Ipswich manager. The attributes are backed with my own empirical evidence collected yesterday. Limited sample acknowledged. Any comments? Welcome. So check that out on Twitter. Craig, spotlight now on Evans. People have had enough of Mills' empty words. Need organ grinder to speak up and not with management speak back of fag packet plans. Problem is the longer malaise, the more likely the next appointment is Mick Light rather than young forward thinking. Yeah, thanks, Craig. It's a good one. Richard says concern is building with the events often on the pitch. Attention rightly shifting to Evans and a lack of plan. Mick's role and future has to be called into question too. 0 shots on targets against a divisional rival second string. Not good enough. Couple more, Dave. Little Melon Man says it's all about style for me, style of play and of managerial interaction with fans. I've supported Ipswich for 40 plus years, many as a season ticket holder. Mick out has turned me into someone who can't be bothered. My children want to go. I don't want to go because they're bored. Look, I've got like another 10 of them, but I'll just go on for ages. Thank you, everybody who tweeted in. I'm just literally scrolling through them. Check at Blue Monday ITFC. So, Dave, the same question to you. And why did it? Because I've been quite positive most of the season, and I took a bit of a swing yesterday. Why was yesterday so symbolic?
I think it was just leading up to it, Ben. I mean, I think it all changed pretty much after the Reading game. So we'd had a good win over Forest. I think did we then lose at Borough? Or was that before? Possibly in between. We lost at Borough. Good win at home to Reading. 2-0, fairly comfortable. Then we went to Wolves, and you went to Wolves, and you came away fairly heartened by that. You said, it was 1-0, but look, we weren't completely destroyed by them. Yes, they're a nice, they're probably going to romp it, but we weren't completely destroyed by them, and we did show a little bit more. And there was just horrible QPR, horrible Derby. Not horrible, but just so much better.
Outplayed,
and then Fulham outplayed, and then you look for a lift. We know his record in the cup. I was thinking, me and you went to the last time we were in the fourth round. I think me and you went, and that was Southampton away, 2010. Last time we appeared in the fourth round of the cup. It's just dire, and people were looking at yesterday and thinking, okay, looks on paper we're playing their reserves. Looks like we've got a half decent side out, which we had. Let's just get in the draw for the next round. Let's just give.
And you might get Norwich. You might get Arsenal at home or something.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's gone. Something else is snatched away. It's gone. And I think that's basically it. And you said goals are dried up. The last 4 games, Garner's got 2 goals from Waghorn set pieces. Should he go now? I don't know. Should he go now?
God.
3 weeks left of the transfer window. Next week, they say yesterday was seminal. Next week could be next Saturday could be a seminal game. Basically, if we lose to Leeds to lose, if we lose to Leeds, that puts us 10 points away from the playoffs, possibly 10 points out. That is a seminal game. He couldn't have had a worse game, really. Leeds coming in, 5,000 fans.
Let me give you my take, Dave, from a pro Mick kind of, because I'm one of the few guys who actually likes him. So I was going into the transfer window thinking, okay, what's going to happen? Are we going to sell Bart for 4 million? We're going to get some long in the tooth goalie replacing him, and we're going to sign.
Ain't got a problem with that.
Yeah, we're going to sign another player, get our injured players back, have a good season. Mick's going to sign a new contract, and Evans is going to give him some more money, and we're going to get out some more of the old players and put in some of the new players, right?
Yeah.
And I think do you know what? Rather than on the pitch, it's the transfer stuff that's terrifying me, because like for the first time, it's kind of like, hang on a minute. So you're going into the transfer thing. Okay, look, Bart's a good player. Fine. That makes some sense. Moore, well, no ambition. Could have kept him around and used him as a squad guy, but no, we want to cash in and clear the decks. McGoldrick, well, he's a good player. He could go. But then you get the Tommy Smith thing as well, and you're like, hang on a minute. This could be a clear out. And then you get Mick's comment. Well, what was his words? Someone to help out. Well, if I'm invested in a job that I'm doing, I'm not looking for someone to help out. I'm looking for a long-term, kind of. And it just made me think for the first time yesterday. Look, he's done.
He's got 20 more. Effectively, he's got 20 more games. Surely he's not going to be here this time next season. So is this not now the time in this? Sorry.
What's the plan? What's the strategy?
So do you not agree? This is now the time with like 2.5 weeks left in the window. He goes, gets someone else in. Yeah, gradually clear the decks, get someone else in, hopefully get some players in, players follow, and take it from there, and build for next season.
Well, I probably something along those lines. Let me give you another scenario. This could well happen, and might be a bit more sensible than doing it there. That they're gonna clear out. They're gonna take McGoldrick off the wage bill. They're gonna cash in on Bart. They're gonna get Moore out. They're gonna raise, I don't know, 2 million, which the new guy's gonna get in the summer. They're gonna get up to 55 points with Mick, and then they'll mutual consent it and bring. Because this is the problem I've got, Dave, is if Mick is gonna go and they are clearing out, like you said, as soon as the transfer window's closed, and if there's not a possibility of being relegated, get a new guy in, and start your new project. But
the guys out. You just look at the managers out there: Karanka, Monk, Warburton, Mark Hughes.
Steve Evans.
Love him.
Ian Holloway, Lee Johnson,
Sandy Ballbag. Oh no, he's doing quite a good job. Even give, I don't know, it's happened. You give bloody Clue a chance with Nash or someone. I just don't know. Something radical has got to happen to this club. That something seismic's got to happen. I don't know. I really don't know, Ben. And I don't think half the people out there know. That people wish for stuff, but Christ knows, I don't know. What was interesting yesterday? What was very interesting yesterday? Burley was on Life's a Pitch, and I know. Before you get excited, and he was very good. And your man. No, it wasn't G-Mate. It's Mark Murphy. Mark Murphy said, "So George, if the opportunity arises, would you come back? Love to come back." But he did preface that. He said, "I'll be back in a shot." Words to the effect. Still live around here. Love the area. Love to come back, but not as manager. He said, "I'm too long." He
doesn't want to go on the road, does he? Yeah.
Too long in the tooth to be a manager. But hey, you'd have someone back, someone from within the club manager with him as, say, director of football, wouldn't you? Would you? And the fans would. I'm sure the fans would love that.
It depends. The thing is, Dave, unless if the spending and the transfer policy is going to stay the same, then you're going to have to go for someone who's literally going to go, right, okay, I'm going to put Dazelle when he's back. I'm just going to
Yeah.
play all these young players and just
Well,
try
then
and build
I
a
tell you
team.
what,
And then you say,
that's
look,
what
okay, we're not going to spend any money. We're just going to go for young players and try and sell them
you know
all
what?
on.
If you go for that, and I know he's an academy and he's entrenched in the academy, shit, I'd go for I'd go for Klug and get, say, Burley in as director of football. Do it. If he's going to play the youngsters, he's going to play the likes of what a midfield? Downs, Dazelle, Nydam.
Do you
Go
think
for it.
Do you think the emphasis is going to rightly shift from Mick to Evans pretty soon? Because this is the thing:
Has to.
everyone can
Has
moan
to.
at Mick all they like, but the second he walks out the door, who are they going to moan at then?
Well, and
You know,
it's always that, and I'm not going to say it. You know what that saying is. And to be again this season more than ever, to be fair to the manager, the injuries have been diabolical. I mean,
well,
who's to say? Dazelle, 20 games in, 24 games in, all right, he might not have played every game. Even that evidence in the first half, he was there for the Birmingham game. Even that first half, he could be magnificent now, bossing that midfield. It's just Emir Hughes, brilliant. Forest, he came in for what was his Sheffield Wednesday, that created the goal there. Forest, he was brilliant, probably man of the match, I thought, against Forest. He's out long season. Bishop comes back, shows some promise. He's out for this. It is just ridiculous.
like
Adiemi,
Dave,
it's ridiculous.
is it broke beyond? Because I've always kind of argued for Mick that he does good transfers in game. He's
He
very
does.
good. There's few more experienced people who you'd want running your club, but is it broke beyond repair now?
And Ben, you can't knock his transfers, in the close season.
Yeah,
Waghorn
but
and
Dave,
Garner,
what
brilliant,
about this doomsday
brilliant.
scenario of Bart goes out, not replaced, so it's Gherkin in with Crow on the bench. McGoldrick sold to slash the wage bill, not replaced. I mean, look, they need if Smith. We don't know. We didn't address Mick's comments. He said he was poorly and he didn't know anything about it. If Smith goes, they need a centre half before Saturday.
Well, it could be that Goldson will come. You don't know. Brighton, mate.
No,
You just don't
okay,
know, dear.
but potentially you're looking at 4 players out and one in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That
Well,
sounds dreadful.
mate, that sounds dreadful. We're not. I still say with our games we've got coming up, our next three. Look, the rest of the month here. So we've got what we got. We've got Leeds at home. We've got Bolton away. Well, that's not going to be easy. We've got Wolves at home. I can see 0 points there. And
Oh,
tell you
don't.
what, looking at those teams below us, certainly the bottom three, Sunderland apart to a degree, they're all picking up points.
Dave, what I
Not.
will say,
We're not out of the woods yet,
Dave,
mate.
Leeds are fluffy. If you get
I
Garner,
know. Okay.
if you get Garner on, you get Waghorn on.
But
I'm
don't
sorry,
you
if
well,
McGoldrick's
tell you
not
what.
injured, take him out of the team. Get Ward.
Also, I'll
Oh
tell
no,
you what
Ward
did
might not
happen.
be
I'll
on.
get on to Leeds in a minute because something else. I don't know if they just got beat in the cup and something significant happened in that game.
Did Pontus Jansson leave?
No, Say's got sent off.
Oh, okay,
90
interesting.
straight red, 90 plus one. Came on a sub, 75th minute. I bet he was happy with that. They got beat and he got sent off for a straight red, 90 plus one or
But Dave,
something.
sorry, the one. Can we just
Sorry.
talk? Can we just no? Can we talk about the Norwich factor? Because I was quite happily trotting along, thinking, okay,
At least you're above them.
ninth place finish above Norwich, and the chance of beating them,
Hey, I dread that. I don't look forward
and
to that game.
that's kind of all we've got left now, isn't it? If
we lose to Leeds,
and also if this transfer window plays out in the worst possible way. Do you remember the last one ending and Dominic Samuel on loan was the
we got
upshot
Emma
of
Hughes
it?
in though, didn't we? We got Hughes.
Have we got him already at that point?
No, I don't think so. I think
Oh,
he was
okay, I
last
beg your
day as
pardon.
well. So
Yeah.
that was that. Ultimately, that was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see that. I mean, like I said, that's why I checked. I thought, Christ, they're 2 points behind when I did the midweek roundup, and that's why I checked their fixtures. I wasn't getting totally besotted with it, but I thought, hang on, So there's some difficult games, but hey, say, Christ, worst case scenario, and I know we shouldn't worry about anyone else. Worst case scenario, say they win 5 of those 6 games, they're going to be up in the playoffs, mate. And they've done it before. That would just be. Oh, don't even want to think about it.
Okay, what we do want you to do though is we want you listeners to think about it, and we've had a lot of brilliant tweets today. So tweet us at Blue Monday ITFC. Obviously, this is going to change day by day during January, depending on who goes out and who comes in. And I just want to come on the pod, Dave, at the end of the month and say that the transfer window wasn't a complete disaster and a massive net loss. Do you know what I mean?
Ben, that'll really only happen if I think. But then it doesn't look it's going to be fees because if he's coming out with what he's saying, it's going to be loans and freebies and stuff like that. is that on the basis that Bart isn't going to be sold, or is that on the basis that Bart's going to be sold and any of that money's just going to be invested on loans and wages?
Mm.
Loans and freebies.
But
No fees.
But
I
then,
don't know.
Dave, then even if Crystal Palace don't take Bart, they're hardly doing a very good job of saying, no, Crystal Palace are interested in Bart. He's not for sale. He's not leaving.
Absolutely.
They're hardly
No,
warning anybody off who's going to come with 5 million. Anyway, look, Dave, we're going long. Let's get on to the Nasdaq. So
Nasdaq.
follow James. Yeah, a bit of light relief. Follow
Yeah.
James Dack _99. He has 2 bets per week. Bit of a cup week for him.
I'm feeling confident this week.
You think the Nasdaq is?
I think the Nasdaq's up.
Imaginative first bet, Dave. Ipswich Town to
No.
win either half. Nasdaq's down, David. Didn't have a shot on target. Sorry,
No.
James. Your team let you down. And he had a treble of Leicester to win at Fleetwood, 0-0. Chelsea to win at Norwich, 0-0. Sheffield Wednesday to win at Carlisle, 0-0. Now, do you remember last week? If James had done the reverse, he would have had. If he'd have bet on all those to be 0-0, he'd have made a fortune.
We'd be retiring.
Right,
Fantastic.
James, back to league games next week. But give James a follow on Twitter at JamesDack _99. He's a good guy and he puts a lot of effort into tweeting that every week. So give him a follow. I saw him yesterday, Dave, the Renegade Statman. Shall we hear what he has to say about events and his stat of the week? Easy guys, loving the YouTube vids, Ben, and I'm sorry I kept you in the pub too long Saturday afternoon.
Where'd you go? Where'd you meet?
I don't know, a pub in between his house and the football ground. I can't tell you what it was called. They looked at me all funny when I went.
Oh, not the Dove. Dove.
No, the Dove. Right. Anyway, he did say, Ben, you must read my emails out without stopping every 2 seconds. So we've broken that wall. Even the stat machine is getting fed up. Ipswich being knocked out of the 3rd round of the FA Cup. I forced it to go one place, then another, but it wasn't having any of it, and gave me the stat machine equivalents of the Keno stare. After a while, I promised that if we find a stat about Saturday's game, that no one else will have it, and it relented. Sorry, Statman. So we know Mick hasn't won an FA Cup game whilst at town. We know our last win in the FA Cup was away at Blackpool in 2010. We even know that the attendance for Sheffield United was the 5th lowest home FA Cup attendance for Ipswich in their history, 3rd round matches onwards. But did you know that Ipswich haven't kept a clean sheet in the FA Cup for 15 games? The last clean sheet Ipswich kept in what was once dubbed the world's greatest cup competition was back in January 2009. Jim Magilton's side beating Lee Richardson's Chesterfield 3-0 in the 15 FA Cup. Since then, the clean sheet Ipswich have conceded 3-1, 2-7, 3-2, 1, 3, 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, and 1. A total of 32 goals. Are the club creating unwanted FA Cup history with not keeping a clean sheet? Yes, they are. 15 games without an FA Cup clean sheet is, in fact, a joint club record. The only other time this occurred was between 1959 to 1965. So let's fast forward to 2019. Mick McCarthy's Ipswich have just lost 1-0 at home to Gateshead. You know it could happen. Peace out, Renegade Statman. Follow him on Twitter at ChompX3. Dave, do you want to talk some Leeds, dirty Leeds?
Leeds. Yeah, I mean they're in 6th currently. They had up to the other week. Their record was very similar to us. They won 13, drew 4, lost 9. They got 43 points. Your fave, Kemar Roof, top scorer, 10 with 2 assists. Saiz, who appeal aside, probably won't be there next week. 9, 5 assists, and Hernandez 6 and 4. I mean, you went to the first game. Good performance first game. It was a good game. One of your favourite games for the season, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we lost 3-2, and we love Bart, but he threw one over the goal line there for an own goal, didn't he?
And then their keeper, that Wiedwald, didn't cover himself in any glory, did he? He was
he just couldn't kick. Who's the big German forward that they've got up front? He looked a bit of a handful. Yeah,
Sogger, isn't it? Yeah, I don't think he's a regular.
But Dave, this was the game that switched Mick to 4-2-3-1 because it had been 4-4-2 the whole season then, and he saw Alioski, Saiz, and Hernandez and matched up for the remaining games. I think they're fluffy. I think you can get at.
Yeah, their last two league games, they haven't scored. They lost 1-0 away at Birmingham, 0-0 at home to Forest, and like today, big cup shock. Lost 2-1 to 2 late goals from Newport Newport County. First of which was a Frank Nouble deflection.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, it was, yeah, but not given to him. It was a proper deflection. It was given as a Shaughnessy own goal. They made 9 changes, and the only regulars that started were from last game out against Forest with Berardi, the left back, and he's a decent player, that Calvin Phillips. Sai straight red on 90+1. I mean, they're quite good. They're quite free flowing, aren't they? Again, I think they give you a chance. That's what I mean.
They
You
do,
say fluffy.
yeah.
I think they'll give you a chance. Like Jansen, I like him
Oh,
at
really
centre.
good player, yeah.
Quality, any. And he's as is Cooper. I think the local
Yeah,
lad. I
yeah, I
think his
really
fellow
liked him
centre back's
actually,
good.
yeah.
And quite a flowing midfield. I've got that side. Well, he won't play. Alioski's been doing the business, and Hernandez and Kemar Rufo. I know you liked at Oxford, who was at Oxford last season. It's going to be good Saturday. They're bringing 5,000. They're taking the whole of the top of the Cobbold stand. So whatever, it'll be a great atmosphere. Yeah, they
Well,
always
can I
bring.
give
It's
you
always good
can I
play
give
there.
you a positive scenario?
Go on.
We get Garner back. We get, Skews back in the team,
Yep.
Connolly,
Yep.
I think McGoldrick's going to have to play though if Ward's not around. So it'll be Selena Waghorn
Here.
McGoldrick. I don't know.
Here.
Some kind of centre half comes in.
Might have a new playmaking midfielder in by then, Ben.
Yep.
I saw tonight we were linked with. I don't know if you've just seen TWTD a couple of hours ago. Not a playmaking midfielder, but I love it. Tom Bradshaw. But are we in the in the room for another forward? Probably not. But yeah.
Dave, they need a centre back. I don't care how old he is or who he is. They need Danny Collins or Matt Elliott or what have you. Just need get
Matt Elliott, warrior.
yeah, just get somebody in.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, it looks like it's going to come too soon for Webster. I mean, Achilles that could rumble on for Christ knows how long. Yeah, it'll be good. I'm quite looking forward to that game because they'll try and play football. It'll be It'll be a good atmosphere, won't it? Even if we're with 5,000 Leeds fans, that'd be good. A bit similar to Lincoln in the Cup last year. It was good. It was for us, didn't play brilliantly, but good atmosphere, wasn't it?
It will. Let's hope there is something more because that felt very, very depressing yesterday.
And
Dave,
could be a seminal game. As I like to say, Leeds. We get tucked up by Leeds next Saturday at home. Ben, sorry, pointing. We're out of the playoffs, mate. Playoffs gone.
well,
Season gone.
even
out of the
more
cup.
so, Dave. Just stuff off the pitch could happen.
Yeah.
Really important. Anyway, look, we've gone very, very long. It's
Always
72.
going to.
72 minutes in. We hope you think we've been balanced today. You can follow us on facebook.com/Blue Monday ITFC. We're going to try and make some improvements to make that platform a bit more fun. So watch this space on that one. On YouTube now. So this podcast is going to be on YouTube before it goes on to Acast and iTunes and whatnot. So you can subscribe. It's on my page, so I'm Benjamin Bloom. And also, there's been 3 videos this weekend. We've got the match reviews, match experience, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of YouTube comment. We're doing a lot that way. We were thinking about moving the release to the morning, but long-term listener Kev Dave, he works nights and listens at midnight.
Totally mess him up, isn't it?
Yeah,
totally
so we're gonna keep we'll keep the pod audio at midnight, but I think
for you, Matt. Did you say?
Kev, I think the way streaming is now, it's very easy to listen on YouTube, isn't it? And on Twitter, if you go to Blue Monday ITFC, you'll find my Twitter and Dave's Twitter and Statman's Twitter, and you can also buy T-shirts there. Dave, have you got something in your hand? I thought you were going to wave a T-shirt.
I have. I wasn't going to wave a T-shirt. I'm just going to cheer everybody up. Now, this was a game just before we end. This is a game that we covered on this week in ITFC history. Me and Stat, just to cheer everybody up. See, we were once quite good. This is 40 years ago, and it is the program from Ipswich 3, Barcelona 0. I just sort of found it on the shelf up there. And a Barcelona team, including at number 6, Johan Naiskins, and at number 9, don't know if you can see that, Johan Cruyff. So we were quite good at some point, Ben. Look, lovely cheer stuff. Up, everybody. Good times will come back.
That was like when David Brent finds inside paper on his thing. Oh, this old thing. It's just I found that laying around. Yeah. So give us a follow on Twitter. Let us know if you've got any feedback with the new YouTube platform. We had a lot of nice comments last week. So Dave, we're going to be more cheerful. Do you want to do the sign off this week?
Yeah. And we had some nice comments and some other comments who called me Specky Four Eyes. So, But hey, I got broad shoulders. I think he'd call me that. I think it was Tim.
Oh, Tim's
And
a good guy. Yeah.
it was Tim is a good guy, but yeah, and I think it was a result of something I said about I can't say it now, about small people.
Oh,
So
okay.
maybe Tim was a bit touchy. Maybe Timothy is one of those that fall into that category. I'm not sure, but anyway.
Yes.
Cheers,
Wonderful.
cheers, Ben. Let's hope for a much better week. Let's hope for some positive transfer news this week, my friend.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Cheers, guys.